Hi, today I'm going to discuss about the major philosophy of education, which is idealism and realism. Idealism. I'll be discussing about the definition, philosophers, educational aim, role of a teacher, goal of an idealist classroom, and the curriculum and methods. What is idealism? A philosophical approach stating that ideas and knowledge are the only true reality. The key word here is the true reality. Plato believed that people should concern themselves in searching for the truth. The aim is to discover and develop each individual's abilities and full moral excellence. So, what is the synonym of idealism? Idealism is coming from the root word idea. So it involves our mind. Okay, the synonym that I can can remember could be like grandeur, excellence, best. So of course, the original founder of idealism is Plato. He believed that man did not create knowledge but discovered it. Plato believed that ideas could be integrated into a universal concept and a meaningful whole. Truth can be found through reasoning, yung pagdahilan, intuition, pagkaintindi, and religious revelation. Of course, Friedrich Hegel is one of the most important, and one of my favorite philosopher. He's the founder of kindergarten, and he was a proponent of idealist pedagogy or idealist education. He said that one could progress toward truth by continuously synthesizing theses and antitheses, thereby arriving at ever higher level of understanding. Like for us, masters taking up masters, we are preparing for our theses, and thereby we are arriving at a higher level of understanding of our topics and our theses. In the United States, transcendentalist philosophers outlined an idealist conception of reality. These two people are Emerson and Torrey. Okay, what is transcendentalist? I'm so curious about this. It's a philosophy started in the early 19th century that promotes intuitive, spiritual thinking instead of scientific thinking. It's more on spiritual. William Harris on the 20th century used idealism as a source for his administrative philosophy. William believed it was essential to growth of an individual and to meet new challenges of the industrial age. So the expanded programs included art, music, and scientific and manual studies. He also encouraged all public schools to acquire libraries, and also library is very important in our colleges and universities. Idealist in education. So there are three parts in the education. First is the intellectual process. The second is recalling and working with ideas. And the third will be conceptualizing all matters. Idealist educator. In Idealist, there's a curriculum which is hierarchical. The top subject is philosophy. Second is theology. Third is math. Fourth is history and literature. Fifth is language. And the last is science. Role of idealist teacher. A teacher must be excellent intellectually and morally. A teacher assists students in choosing important material. A teacher is serving as exemplary models. A teacher is encouraging students to ask questions. A teacher is providing a suitable environment for learning. So these five are the role of the idealist teacher. Curriculum and methods of idealism. Student to be taught how to think. Teacher passes knowledge to student. Lecture method is important. And then dialect and critical discussion is done. And then after this, a self-directed activity comes to place. Goals of an idealist classroom. Sharing is important. And make sure that teachers will tell the students to don't think books are the only thing important. There are other things and then there are other sources to look for. The students' ideas are encouraged. The teachers are obliged to refine the students' ideas and let the students involve in these ideas. Now, what are the examples of ideas? Right now, the ideas that we can use in the environment is cell phone, computer, laptop. I can also say that Gcash payment is very important to us right now. Realism is the next topic that I will be discussing. So, what are the discussion about? The definition, the philosophers, the realism and educator, role of realist teacher, curriculum method, and other few things about realism. What is realism? It is an approach to life that means dealing with the way things are. So if you see the world through the lens of realism, you accept what's in front of you and don't pretend it's otherwise. So it's there, it's a material. The philosopher Aristotle, the pupil of Plato, reacted to idealism and thus he founded realism. He believed that everything had a purpose and that humans' purpose is to think. Thomas Aquinas, he combined realism with Christian doctrine. He's more into religion. He developed an offshoot of realism called Thomism, in which contemporary Catholic education is rooted. So that's why for Catholic schools we have religion subjects because of this Thomism. Johann Pestalozzi's instructional principles began with concrete objects and ended with abstract concepts were based on realism. Now we go to realism in education. Realism in education should be educated and well versed. There's a mastery. Students are exposed and guided. They correlate. They should be distinguishing between utility daily life and education. They have to live in simple rules. They need to know proper order and The teacher needs to know the interest of the child. What is the role of a realist teacher? So students learn through their senses. Students doing and experiencing things rather than just listening. Teacher gives group works, field trips, and projects. Students are a product of their environment. Students doesn't have any choice as they are simply responding to the stimuli in their environment. Let's discuss about curriculum and methods of realism. So the top subjects of realism are history and zoology. So you can see that these two subjects are general and abstract subjects. Lessons that cultivate abstracts and logic are really stressed in realism. So after presenting to you idealism and realism, I try to compare the two, the idealism and realism in education. So are the aims of education for both of this philosophy? Okay, so in idealism, there's the true ideas. Now in realism, there's a combination. Yes, there's a truth, but there's a natural physical world. So if idealism is more on ideas in your mind, realism will have a combination of ideas and adapting to the physical environment. Okay. In idealism, there's the rational process, and in realism, it's a scientific method. Idealism character development is wisdom, moral conviction, goodwill, and loyalty. In realism, there's the character development for accountability. Okay, what are the methods, curriculum, and the teacher in both philosophies? In idealism, it's a self-directed learning. In realism, it's direct teaching. In idealism, it's depth over breadth. In realism, it's essential information. In idealism, it's critical thinking. In realism, it's practical and useful. In idealism, it's reading and writing. And realism is the three R's. So, what are the three R's? It's reading, writing, and arithmetic. In idealism, teacher is intellectual and moral. In realism, teacher is a subject master or expert. Questions. Who are you, an idealist or realist teacher? Please give an example. Well, for me, I consider myself a realist teacher. I go for the shortcuts. I expose the students. I adjust to their understanding and go with my instruction from that approach. So, what are the three R's? Number three, what can idealism contribute to the community? Number four, what can realism contribute to the community? And that's it for now. So, this is all that I have for my reporting. Thanks for listening and watching.